you know me, like I mail several times a day. In fact, yesterday we had not really a glitch. It's more like a I guess an oversight of one of my team members who's responsible for loading the emails. And what we do is we always send to the unopens, and so it happened that he loaded the unopens to be sent like 40 minutes after the original email, which is way too soon. But that kind of didn't really backfire. In fact, it actually worked better than waiting for like 12 hours before sending the unopens, because apparently it sort of kind of nudged people to really open that email
Hmm.
faster. There are tons of different ways to do this, and you can definitely mail more often. In my opinion, like I went from mailing several times a week back way back in the day, and also being really afraid of the attrition, because if there's no new subscribers coming in, and you're like, every time you mail you got like -5 or -10, you're like, oh, it's so hard to get to 5 now, but it's so easy to lose them. So so that was very difficult until I started generating like a couple of hundred new subscribers every day. At which
Hmm.
point, -5 or -10 doesn't really seem bad. Like these days, I can have days where I've got -50 subscribers on a single day,
Yeah.
and look at that, and it still kind of sucks, right? Because to me, every subscriber on my list equals dollar amount, just like to you. But there's going to be another 50 coming in the next couple of hours. So I'm gonna be okay with that. Like I have to put things into perspective, because the more the list grows, the more there will be unsubscribes, etc. Like this past year, we had an influx of leads from a different source. Like so, it almost like, I don't want to say doubled, but maybe uh, grew our lead gen by about 120, maybe 150%. So all of a sudden, my unsubscribe rates are also bigger because the overall list size is bigger.
Hmm.
And at first, I was panicking. It's like, oh, what's going on? Why are people like, why is everyone leaving the ship like it's drowning? But eventually I realized, but wait a second, we're like literally getting almost double the average daily subscriber amount. So it's only natural for the unsub rate to remain the same in relation to the total list size, but the numbers will appear like they're greater. But I also wanted to touch on the idea of burning it out. You said that you've burned out, you torched the list before, and I can totally relate to that. I've been there myself quite a few times, especially at the very start when I'm like, when I mail the list and there's money coming in. It's like, oh, I should do that more often, and I'm like really hitting that list hard with multiple offers, and it was a shit show.
Hmm.
But these days, after many years of trial and error, what I've discovered is I kind of developed my own way of mailing the list often without burning that list out.
Hmm.
And it comes down to not so much wanting the subscribers to read every email. I think for me, that's never the goal. Like I don't expect every person on my list to read every email. In fact, I kind of assume that they won't, that they'll miss 5 emails out of 7, and that's okay, because my goal is to get them to respond. So in a way, I noticed that whenever I get emails from people, I can go for like a month or a week without opening any of them, but then there's going to be one email that really gets my attention, that kind of pulls me into whatever that person has going on, like whether they got a product launch or
Hmm.
something. I also noticed that my wife, she kind of does the same thing. So me and my wife, we have a habit of eating together, but we also have this habit of watching something while we eat rather than having a conversation. I'm not sure exactly whether it's the healthiest habit, but it is a habit that was formed since many years ago, back when me and her, we used to live with my parents together, and we used to eat and work out of the same bedroom where I grew up as a teenager. So it was like we just kind of stayed in that little room and did everything there. And a habit that was formed was, I didn't have a TV in that room, so we would watch movies or TV shows on the computer. So we would be sitting on my bed and put something on the computer and eat and watch, right?
Hmm.
So now we do the same thing. That habit never went away. We have a big screen TV, but for some reason we, sit at the dining table, put a laptop on it, and just watch something on a laptop, especially if it's Russian TV, which we don't get in Canada, so we have to stream it from a laptop or a device. And here's where I'm getting with this. As we usually use her laptop for
Hmm.
it, and she's got the email app on her Mac set up, and so every time there's an email coming in, there's like boom, 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 and you can see the emails coming in. And as we eat, I can see her response to different types of emails. And a lot of times it could be something related to work, or it could be something related to a clothing store that she subscribes to, or whatever. Recently she actually subscribed to a couple of gurus as well, who do sell courses about female like relationships from a female standpoint, and parenting, and a lot of stuff like that. So I get to see her response to all the emails. And oftentimes I see like an email coming in from something like Shane, which is like an e-com brand selling clothes for women, and it'll be like 50% off, blah blah blah. And she'll almost be like rolling her eyes and be like, "Ah," and clicking away, but not unsubscribing,
Right.
because 3 days later there's going to be something else, and she's going to click on it, she's going to pick something up, and there's going to be a Shane bag on the porch in a few days. Yo, it's Igor. I want you to have my Amazon best-selling book for free for taking the time to listen to my podcast and to watch my YouTube videos. Now, I'm not only going to give you this book for free, but I'm going to throw in about $3.2 thousand in free bonuses. Now, if you want to get this book, please click the link in the description, or you can also go to igorsbook.com. And now, back to the podcast. Yes, it can be annoying if you email too often, but people vote with their wallets. And even if they only open one email a week, but that one email is actually something they really want, you still end up making a lot more money. And another thing that I always think about is, it's not just about them clicking or opening an email, it's also about staying on top of their awareness.
Hmm.
Like, in other words, like if my brand or presence in their inbox stands for something, I want to be there a lot. It's like, back in the 90s when we used to watch TV, right? We used to see the Tide commercials or the Snickers commercials, Coca-Cola commercials. Coca-Cola did a great job of associating itself with Christmas. Now every
Hmm.
time I see a Coca-Cola truck, I feel like Christmas, because I remember the Christmas commercial that they had with Santa Clauses and the big trucks and the lights. So for me, in a way, yes, I know that if it, like, just like back in the 90s when an ad would come up and I'd be rolling my eyes, be like, oh, commercial. But it does leave an imprint. And eventually, when they're ready to move forward in a certain direction, I want them thinking about me. I want them to be looking forward to an email from me, or just kind of knowing, to know that tomorrow I'm going to be there. Even if they
Hmm.
don't read today, tomorrow I'm going to be there. Now, here's another phenomenon that I noticed from my list, which once I share that, I promise I'll shut up and let you shine. So another thing I've noticed is that, so I track all my links.
Hmm.
Every email there's a link, and I track my links and I watch my stats. That's one of the few things I still have to do, having a big team now. I do have to watch my numbers, because the way you manage a big business, you manage the business by numbers. You own a
Hmm.
big ecom business, so like you look at the numbers, and if the numbers aren't right, you start taking action. So I look at my clicks, and I look at my click count and the click through rate and everything. And what I'm noticing is that I'll have like almost like a backlog of clicks coming in through my emails a week or 2 weeks after they got clicked. And once I've noticed that, and I've kind of started thinking, oh, wait a second. So there's a lot of traffic I'm losing because the offer I promoted last week is over. That offer is gone. And now all these people are clicking. So I started, redirecting my links to like an expired page or something, a page that says, look, this offer is gone. But if you're interested in something like that, here, check this one out. And I'll take them to a certain page. But my point being is that, yes, they may not open that email when I send it, but there's a good chance that 2 weeks later they'll go and check it out for some reason. It's like people like save the emails into a special folder or something, and then when they got the time or the energy for it, or maybe it's a form of entertainment or something, they'll go and they'll like look back at all the other emails to check out what I've been mailing about.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. I've seen the same thing. And to be honest, there are a couple people where I do exactly that. I have their emails going into a folder because I can't necessarily keep up with daily, but if I'm in a waiting room somewhere, I might open that up and just binge on 20 or 30 emails all at once, because it is a form of entertainment. I like their content, and sometimes there's offers mixed in that I've missed. So no, I think that I don't disagree with anything that you said. I think that these are different approaches that, um, I think that what I'm doing makes sense for a small list, but ultimately I want a bigger list, right? I mean, I would love to have a big list, bigger than I have, but I want to maintain the quality of leads on it, and I want to maintain the level of influence that I have over that. And really, that's what I'm going to be uh, focusing on in this next year is scaling what I'm currently doing. So I think you're right. Like, as that scales, I will be emailing more often because the attrition won't be a concern, and I have enough data now to know the kinds of things that gets people on my list excited. So I'm going to give them more of that. But I spent some time trying to figure out what that really was. I threw out some different topics and some different offers, and some clearly did better than others. And now I know it works, and so I'm just going to turn up the dial on that.